I love the whole Bible. I love Genesis to Maps. The back of the Bible. I love Genesis. I love the way it. But I want to talk about forgiveness. Something that I was talking with my dad a couple of days ago. We were doing some stuff in town, and it's been on my heart. I want to talk about forgiveness. Now I'm going to be reading quite a bit, jumping around in the book of Genesis. So Genesis 37. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel, meaning Jacob, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all their brethren, they hated him, and they could not speak peacefully unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheep stood around about, and made obeisance to my sheep. And his brethren said unto him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us, or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come and bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went to feed their father's flocks in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and be well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say some evil beast devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto him, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit, that it is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, and deliver them to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into the pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes, and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead, with their camels bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, coming to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our flesh, and his brethren were content. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Jesus, I thank you for this time that's been set aside for us to come meet. Lord, I pray that you help us and strengthen us. Lord, I may be the weakest, cracked, messed up vessel in your kingdom, Lord, but I pray that something be said, be a blessing. Help me, Jesus, to hide behind the cross, Lord. Thank you for all you do, and amen. Amen. Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. By the way, that was a blessing, because they were planning on killing him. Right. Just a few chapters earlier, in chapter 34, they slaughtered the Shechebites, murdered them with the sword, killed them all. They were mass murderers. It's one thing for your brother to say, you know, I could kill you, and another for him to say, why being a mass murderer? Yeah. You know, it's messed up with being sold in slavery. That's the better end of the bargain. But look at Genesis 39. And Joseph was brought to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, brought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer of his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in the house, and over all that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake, and the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. Joseph prospered in Egypt. Look at verse 7. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. And he refused and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master was not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me, but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great sin and wickedness and sin against God? You know, it's never wrong to be a Christian. It's never wrong to go with God. Verse number 20. And Joseph's masters took him and put him into prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hands all the prisoners that were with him in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, and the Lord made it to prosper. And you know, it goes on where he begins to interpret dreams, and eventually, you know, this is going to get him out of prison, but it took 2 years because the butler forgot, apparently, when he got out of prison, until Pharaoh dreamed the dream. Turn to Genesis 41, verse 8. Pharaoh dreamed the dream. Then it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt, and all the wise men thereof. And the Pharaoh told them his dream, and there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my thoughts this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servant, and put me in the ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he. He dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was with us a young man, a Hebrew servant to the captain of the guard, and we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. And it came to pass that he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. And then it goes on, and you know, the Lord's leading Joseph to prepare for the famine. And you know, Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, and he sent his sons to go see. Joseph's brothers that come to Egypt, and they have no idea who, you know, Joseph is. Now he's been exalted, and he's put in I think it said 20 years passed between that time when he was sold. Genesis 44. I know I'm reading a lot, but I'm trying to set up the backstory a little bit. Genesis 44. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the youngest, and his corn money. And he did according to the word that Joseph had spoken. And as soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their asses. And when they were gone out to the city, and not yet far off, Joseph said unto his steward, Up, follow after the men, and when thou dost overtake them, say unto them, Wherefore have you rewarded evil for good? Verse 11. Then they speedily took down every man his sack to the ground, and opened every man his sack. And he searched, and began at the eldest, and left at the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And we see, they brought before him, he said, "Your thieves, you've stolen from me." He said, and Joseph wanted to keep Benjamin, and he tested his brother. He sent him back, and he came back and wanted to test him. And he was going to keep Benjamin, and Judah even came and said, "Take me in his stead, take me so he can go to the Father." And I want to get to chapter 45. That's where I want to get to. Talking about forgiveness. Then Joseph could not refrain himself before all them that stood by him, and he cried, "Cause every man to go out from me." And there stood no man with him while Joseph made himself known unto his brethren. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians in the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said unto his brethren, "I am Joseph, doth my father yet live?" And his brethren could not answer him, for they were troubled at his presence. Joseph got overwhelmed. It was too much for him. He couldn't refrain himself. All that had been done to me, he forgave them. It was forgiveness. It was he extended them forgiveness. Now, how do you explain forgiveness? Let me think. Johnny, say I give Johnny my phone and he drops it and breaks it. I say, "Okay, I forgive you. Give me $800 delay. I'm gonna go to Orange, buy me a new one." And that's not forgiveness, though. Because that doesn't expunge the debt. That doesn't pay the debt. Someone has to pay. Johnny's still paying even though he broke my phone. I say I forgive you, but did I really forgive you?
Right.
I'll give you an example of how we forgive. I can say, "I forgive you. I just don't want to talk to you right now. I forgive you, but I've lost all respect for you." That doesn't really mean you forgave them because you're still making them pay. You're still making them pay for. It's like somebody has bad parents and they grow up and they say, "Well, since they were bad to me, I'm gonna get them back by not sending them pictures of their grandchildren." Or say parents trying to punish their children, saying, "I'm gonna write them out of their inheritance. I forgive them now, but I'm gonna punish them later for it." Someone's making them pay. I'm making you pay. I'm making you pay. Now, I forgive you, but I've lost all respect for you. Just tell me you lost all respect for me instead of saying you forgive me, because you obviously don't. It's unforgiveness. It's like telling God, "Okay, you died for what that person did to me, and that may satisfy you, but I require more." It's like spitting on the cross of Christ, saying, "I require more. It's not enough for me." Come die again, Jesus, for die me again. That they need the death on the cross plus me being mad at them all my life, all silent treatment from me. The one that's really paying is you. It's like trying to drink poison hoping they die. That bitterness and that festering inside of you. That's not what Joseph did. Ephesians 4:32 says, you want to turn there. "And be ye kind one another, tender-hearted and forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you." And Joseph said unto his brethren, "Come near to me, I pray you." And they came near. And he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom ye sold into Egypt." He said, "Come near to me." That reminds me, it makes me think of when Jesus came into the upper room and he said, "Peace be unto you. Come near to me. Handle me, feel me, see me." Come near to me. Jesus died on the cross for us, and he paid the sin debt, the blood. He said, Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin has left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. There is a fountain filled with blood drawn from Emmanuel's veins, and sinners plunged beneath that flood lose all their guilty stains. Jesus paid it all.
Granddad, he used to say something, I think he was maybe quoting Joe Parsons or somebody else who said it, but he said that you're getting close to God when your sin looks worse to you than those around you. When you see yourself, and to forgive somebody, you've got to see yourself as worse than they are, and you have to see that you're bad enough that you need forgiveness. When you can see God, that God forgave you, it's bad as you are, and if you see yourself the way you really are, it makes it a little bit easier to forgive somebody else. I'm thankful for forgiveness. That's because we have to be forgiven to go to heaven. We have to have our sins wiped away and forgotten about. Like Jay says, God doesn't look at us and say, "Oh, I'm going to forgive you, but I'm still going to hold something against you." He says, "I'm going to forgive you and forget about it. I'm going to just let it go. I'm going to not," and that's a hard thing for us to do as humans, of course. But aren't you glad that that's what God looks at us and does for us? I mean, even if we can't do it, I'd like to be able to say I can do it, but I don't have it in me most of the time to do that. But God, that He's just love. He's just good. He doesn't have a ill thought towards you or anything. No matter what you've done, no matter what you've done, He doesn't see you and doesn't look at you and say, "Well, I'm going to forgive them. I'll pay for it, but I'm just going to still hold it against them." I'm glad He doesn't hold it against us.
Amen.
Thank God that we're forgiven completely. Wiped clean. The slate's wiped clean, and you don't have to come. You can come without having even. A lot of times when we have done something, we wrong somebody, and even if they've forgiven us, and maybe they actually have, in our heart, we know what we've done, and we go and we have to kind of hold our head down, and we feel like that they're going to be looking at us in a certain way. But the Lord says, "That's okay. It's gone. You don't have to even hold your head down. I love you just like you never did it. I love you just like you never did anything." And that's the way God loves us. And I'm thankful for that this morning. Let's go ahead and pray and we'll be dismissed. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning for forgiveness, Lord. Without that, we have no hope, Lord. The forgiveness is what you've done, Lord. You loved us so much. You loved us so much that you forgave us. You loved us so much that you gave your Son to pay. And Lord, you've forgotten our sin. And I'm thankful for that this morning. And I pray these, Lord, that haven't yet received it. Haven't yet received that forgiveness, Lord. Just extend it out to them, Lord. Touch their hearts. Let them get a hold of that, Lord. Let them see, Lord, that okay, even every little thing that they've done, Lord, that you've already paid for it. And you're willing to let it go. Let it forgive them, Lord. And give them that place in heaven, Lord, that you're wanting to give them. Lord, I thank you, Lord, for the message this morning. I thank you for Jay, Lord, and Lord using him. And your word's being preached, and I'm thankful for that this morning. I thank you for your word. Put it in our hearts, Lord, this morning. Put that forgiveness in our hearts, Lord, that only can come from you, Lord. We can't do it ourselves, Lord. We're not any good. But you are able, Lord, to put that in our hearts, Lord. And I thank you for loving us and blessing us and all that you're doing, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.